Review and installation of the new Osite C open-emitter reflex pistol sight. A very affordable optic for your handgun if you're on a budget or just don't want to spend that much money. Everything Osite includes adds a lot of value to the price, ranging from $150 on sale to normally $180. It has a very nice finish to it, looking like a quality product, especially at that cheaper price. We have the normal position for your brightness buttons and also your elevation and windage dials for zeroing, side loading battery tray, and the enclosed electronics. The big appeal to this is going to be that massive window and a pretty small form factor overall. A nice square window with rounded edges. The glass is slanted backwards, but still has an overall big window even with that slant. For the size, this is kind of leaning towards the window of a competition optic. It has a very low deck height, has a slight angle back, and then goes forward a little bit, kind of like a fin. It looks like a normal size sight, but you still have a massive window, which is going to help with acquiring your red dot. I'm always impressed with Osite as they have the best packaging in the game. Even on a cheaper site like this, everything is protected and packaged neatly, giving you a lot of extra value without really having to pay for it, and all the extras included. The optic takes the most common and well-known RMR 407-507 C footprint. If your handgun has that footprint already, you can attach this directly to that RMR footprint, or if you're mounting it on an MOS Glock like I'm going to be doing, you're going to need a Glock MOS to RMR adapter plate. It has the 3 different reticle types with the 3 MOA dot, 32 MOA circle, or the circle dot combination, an anti-reflective lens coating which helps with light transmission. Window is coming in at 0.95 inches by 0.75 inches. If you're off to one side or the other, you're going to be able to find that dot and then recenter it more easily. Comes with Osite stickers, a zeroing guide, and an installation guide. Different size and length screws in these removable crates, or if you just want one, you can slide them off. Definitely a thought out process with the screws. Comes with an installation and zeroing adjustment tool. And one thing I haven't seen any other company do is add extra battery compartment spare screws, which is a really nice touch. I think that's cool that they're giving you extra of everything you need. Even with the screws themselves, there's 3 instead of just 2. So if you're to lose it for any reason, you have backups. An Osite lens cloth and the user manual. Take the flat part of the tool and stick it into the little screw, and I will start unscrewing this. Remove the screw, and then I can use the flat portion again to lightly pry out on the battery compartment. Keep prying that out until it comes out all the way, then I can pull it out. Pull out the battery so I can remove this plastic piece of film. Take CR1632 batteries for the best performance. You're gonna wanna use lithium to extend the battery life. Place the battery back in with the negative facing up. Slide the side loading battery compartment back in. Push it in all the way until it's flush. Thread this in hand tight, just until it's snug. I personally like the batteries because I can just swap it out if I'm not at a place where I can recharge. This is just a little bit of a quicker method. 8 daytime and 2 night vision settings. On mode 3, which is 1 bump above the night vision setting, 30,000 hours on the circle dot, which is about 3 years, 100,000 hours on the single dot, which is pretty crazy. Even though it's on a very low brightness setting, that is a lot of hours. And then 40,000 hours on the circle dot. 100,000 hours, I actually haven't seen that before. Take into account that it is on a very low brightness setting. 3 years, 10 years, and 4 years. For usable setting, it would probably be closer towards mode 6, which would give you, I'd say, about 50,000 hours on the single dot. Maybe cut that in half. As long as I'm getting a year out of the battery life, I am happy with that. They also have a motion sensor function, which is the same thing as Shake Awake, which is going to extend your battery life greatly. If it senses any movement, it's gonna kick the reticle on, and it will turn off after 3 minutes of inactivity. Pretty normal and standard circle dot. You have your clear spaces in the center, and it's not massively big to where it's taking up a ton of your glass, but you can push the corners very well in that big window. For your reticle changing, we're going to hold the minus for 3 seconds. I prefer the 3 MOA dot for pistol, 9mm, or whatever handgun cartridge you're shooting. It doesn't get too much smaller in the daylight. Good 3 MOA dot. The circle only, again, has that nice clear space in the middle without the dot being there. This just depends on personal preference on which reticle you like to use, but it does give you the option if you'd like to try different ones. Turn it off. We will hold both the plus and minus for 0.5 seconds. The housing is made from your common 7075 aluminum, which is what most of your optics are going to be made from. If your battery is getting low, the reticle will flash 3 times every minute to let you know. Impact resistance of 1 meter, which is 3 feet. So pretty much if you're holding the gun out and you drop it, it is going to survive it. We have your manual on and off function, which is what I prefer. I am going to turn that motion sensor function on. It was off, so to turn that on, I'm going to click twice and hold on the second click. We have 1, 2, and I'll hold it down. And when it blinks twice, that means that it is on. Turn this up all the way, and this is the brightest that it's going to get. It is decently bright. Even if I go on a white surface, I can still see the dot. That is good enough to use in the daytime. When tightening your battery compartment, it gives a torque of 6.9 inch-pounds. That's a cool little piece of information that they add. I also haven't seen a torque for a battery compartment before, but pretty much hand tight will be sufficient. Zeroing adjustment of 1 MOA or 1 inch at 100 yards, 1/4 inch at 25 yards, which will move your impacts a 1/4 inch in that direction. If you're racking it, you're not going to be hitting that lens directly. It's not going to break that glass as easy having it recessed back at the top. That little swoop as well will kind of help for indexing, racking off that, giving it a little bit of a pocket or a curve to get into. For Glock, I'm going to be using the 6x32, which would be 17 inch-pounds if you have a torque driver. On their website for this optic, if you scroll down to the bottom, it will show you what screws you need to be using. The 6x32s, which I'm going to be using the short length RMR adapter plate for my Glock MOS, which these screws did come with my adapter plate. T10 Torx bit, which I'm going to be able to use on both the adapter plate screws and the screws for the optic. Blue Loctite, which you're going to want to use on both sets of screws for the adapter plate and the optic. Take that bit and you can actually unthread them out. Another nice touch is that all of their screws come with blue thread locker already on them. That shows Osite's attention to detail. Place the adapter plate on the slide with the post to the front. Add some blue medium strength thread locker to the screws and place them in the holes. Start by getting them threaded in. Once they are pretty close to snug, I'll start going back and forth on them in 1/4 turns until I hit that allotment of 12 inch-pounds for this. Just going back and forth little by little to provide equal torque on both of the screws. I will then take the optic and place it on the adapter plate, take the Osite screws and drop them in the hole. The adapter plate said 15 inch-pounds for this specific one. Just get them started a little bit, back and forth on 1/4 inch turns. Once I get close, I just want to make sure my adapter plate isn't lifting up on both sides. If it is, I either need shorter screws or I need to not torque this down as tight, but we're still flush on both sides. So the screw lengths are going to be good because I am pretty close to finish on the torque. It looks pretty good on the slide. You can see how low of a deck height it has. If you have some type of co-witness sights on here, suppressor height iron sights, they're going to for sure work. The good thing about having a window this big is that even though my iron sights are a little bit taller, they're sitting in the 1/4 to 1/5 co-witness range, which I like having them down farther and not taking up a whole bunch of the window. I'm going to be able to use most of my glass for 90% of my shooting, which will be with the optic. This is how it looks on the pistol. It looks good even with that massive window. It doesn't look like an outrageously big optic view through the glass. Even with those co-witness sights, it's not taking up a lot of my glass. I can push the corners with that dot. If I pull it out or present it at a bad angle and it's in a corner, Because of that bigger window, I can find it a little bit easier and then snap back to the center where I want to be. For the price of $150 on sale to $180 regular cost, I think it has a lot of value, and with all the packaging and everything it comes with, I think that it is a fair price and it is very appealing to someone who doesn't want to spend a ton of money on an optic or someone who is on a budget. I like what Osite is doing with their optics, providing quality handgun sights with a lot of value to the more budget or affordable end of the market. Olight claims that this can be used for self-defense, competition, combat, battle. Because of the cost and the impact resistance, personally, I would limit this to range use, competitions. You could use this for carry. I would personally keep it out of the combat or battle category. Usually in the lower, cheaper end of optics, things aren't crazy durable. Osite, who is a part of Olight, did send this out to me to review. I am going to be honest whether I paid for it or if somebody sent it to me for free. There's been no payment for this. They just sent me the optic. I just like how Osite and Olight are filling in that cheaper and more affordable category of the market with their optics and their flashlights. There's people who watch the channel that don't like the price of the higher end optics or different products that I present. So I think that they're presenting more affordable options to fill in that part of the market. If you want to see more videos like this, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to help support the channel, and thank you for watching.